Hi, this is Joe again with another review. I'm continuing my review of the WrestleManias, and like I said in the other two WrestleMania videos, if we don't get to your favorite WrestleMania, I'm sorry about that. I'm not going to discuss the recent ones. I'm not going to discuss the early WrestleManias. I mean, go to maybe 9 or 10 maybe, and that's about it. And then maybe do a review of other matches after that of note. But as a whole, I'm not going to discuss every single. I'm not going to go do over 30 videos of WrestleMania. I'm not going to do it because so many other people have done it. So many more diehard fans are going to do it, and I'm going to do it. So I'm going to be discussing which I consider to be the greatest WrestleMania ever. I mean, it's not even close in my mind, because there's not going to be another WrestleMania that comes close to this one. And that is, of course, WrestleMania 3, which took place on March 29th, 1987 in the Pontiac Silverdome, which at the time, and this held the record for 23 years as the largest indoor attendance record of all time, 93,173. And to me, this is still the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And this one, thankfully, they lowered the amount of celebrity involvement. They only had maybe like 3 celebrities through the whole event, compared to like 6 or 7 for the first 2 years. They only had Aretha Franklin singing "America the Beautiful" to start off the show, and you had Mary Hart for Entertainment Tonight, and Mr. Baseball Bob Uecker. And Bob Uecker is the only celebrity to appear, other than Pete Rose, is the only celebrity to appear in WrestleMania twice. Because Bob Uecker is going to come back in WrestleMania 4. Well, WrestleMania 3 is the event. I remember this thing was hyped for about like 3 months. Well, I think from January to the time of the event. And I do remember when, big announcement when Jack Tunney, who was the WWF president at that time, saying, "Oh, we're going to have it in the Pontiac Silverdome. We're going to have over 90,000, at least 90,000 people there." So I knew for them to have 90,000 people, they're going to have like the match of the century in this thing. And you always trying to figure out who they're going to have as a match of the century. And I'm going to get to it, and which of course happens to be the Hulk Andre match. And I do remember them hyping this thing, and you can tell. Because you're trying to figure out who they're going to have Hogan wrestle in the main event. Because he did have Bundy the year before, and throughout between WrestleMania 2 and WrestleMania 3, you had this rivalry with Bobby Heenan going after Hogan. So you get all his guys in his stable, or the Heenan family as it was called, to have a title. And he kept losing. All these matches on Saturday's main event with Paul Orndorff and I think Bunny again and Hercules Hernandez. So every guy was in the Heenan stable, all of them and losing. So Heenan's trying to get a guy who could possibly beat Hogan. And they had a thing with like a little trophy ceremony in Piper's Pit. And they gave Hogan a trophy about he was a champ for 3 years. And so, okay, how about have honoring Andre? Andre has been undefeated for 15 years. Let's do a thing on him. And so, okay, so he has a trophy, but his trophy was smaller than Hogan's trophy was. So Andre got a little miffed over that. And of course, Hogan said the famous line, "The world champion of superstars all over the world, Andre the Giant." And Andre just turned around and walked off the set. And then, of course, later on, he came back with Bobby Heenan on another week. The show the next week, or 2 weeks later, with Andre challenging Hogan for a championship match at WrestleMania 3. No, you can do it, Andre, you can do it. And then, of course, the next week, he held up and said, you're not going to accept Andre's challenge. And of course, Hogan says, "Hell yeah!" Did that. And of course, everybody went crazy. That's how WrestleMania 3 got sold on that match. But this show can't be just that one match. I mean, you had 11 other matches on that show, and almost every other match was, worthy to be on that event with Hogan and Andre. And almost every other match, they had like a little vignette on why this match is happening in WrestleMania 3, which I thought was a great idea. You had a tiny bit of it with the Hogan Bundy match in WrestleMania 2. But in WrestleMania 3, you had almost every match. The first one they had a little vignette with was the second match on the card. The first match was a tag match between the Can-Am Connection, Tom Zink and Rick Martel versus Morocco and Orton, which the Can-Am's won. The second match, you had another match where you had two guys from the same finishing hold, Billy Jack Haynes and Hercules. And he had a little vignette with that, and of course, Bobby Heenan's going, "Oh, my guys are going to win, it's going to be the greatest day of my life." Well, by the end of the night, I'm going to be the manager of the heavyweight champ, the next heavyweight champ, and all that stuff. So, every one of his matches, they had more emphasis on his matches than anything else. Than any other manager. And of course, that match had to be with Billy Jack Haynes and Hercules was a double counter. Then you had another match with another tag match, restored the trend halfway through, which when I get back and forgot one match, King Kong Bundy and two midgets versus Hillbilly Jim and two midgets was a novelty match. But of course, Bundy got disqualified when he squashed one of the midgets, which is hysterical. To me, it's still hysterical. Then you had a bit with Junkyard Dog versus Harley Race, and the Harley Race was done himself as the king of wrestling. And the loser of the match bowed, and Harley Race lost. Not Harley Race, he won. The Junkyard Dog had a bow, and then he beat up Harley Race afterwards. Then, of course, you had after that match, you had Bobby Heenan came into the announce booth, and he says, "Oh, my guys are doing great." He says, "What do you mean great? I mean, you didn't win your first match with Hercules, didn't win. He didn't win." "Well, Billy Jack didn't win either, did he?" I said, "No." I said, "Well, there you go." Then you had my guy Harley Race, he won. I said, "What about Bundy when he squashed the midget?" Well, I said, "I don't deal with midgets with Bobby Heenan." Now, of course, the two matches that ended the first half of the show, the Russo brothers losing to the Dream Team, and they had Dina, which was, of course, Valentine and Beefcake. And then, of course, they left for some reason, they left Beefcake in the ring, and they were celebrating without him. And, of course, a couple of weeks earlier, they had Brutus Beefcake with a Dream Team teaming up with Andrew Adonis, and Andrew Adonis accidentally cutting Brutus Beefcake's hair on one of the Superstars of Wrestling show. So Brutus Beefcake got his revenge. We had the Roddy Piper Andrew Adonis match, which was dubbed as Roddy Piper's last match before he retires and went into movies, making the movie They Live. So he had to leave. They had given him an excuse to leave for a while. And then that was a pretty good match, with Roddy Piper winning, and Brutus Beefcake was the one who actually gave Andrew Adonis a haircut just to get even with him, which was pretty good. And of course, the Andrew Adonis Piper match also had a little vignette, as well as the match I mentioned earlier with Junkyard Dog and Harley Race. They also had a little vignette happening up to those two matches. And then you had the second half of the show, which you had the first match was a six-man tag match. Bush Bulldogs getting even with the Hart Foundation, who stole the tag belts that November with Dane Davis. And Bush Bulldogs teamed up with Tino Santana. As soon as they saw Tino Santana was going to lose. Of course, that was a pretty good match with the Hart Foundation, David Davis winning on Spirit of Fashion, of course, and Jimmy Hart was getting beat up all night long in this WrestleMania. And they also had a little vignette to hype that match. Then you also had Bush V versus Coco Beware, which was a nothing match with Santana being up Rick V's Portuguese manager's leg would beat him up towards through the part. Then you had which I consider to be the best match of the whole night, even though it was Hulk Andre. There was Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage for the heavyweight for the IC title, which was a great match. I can't emphasize. I know there was a guy, the Off the Ropes show guy, the Shag Daddy. There's the Savage Warrior match. Was the better one. I think that this one was the best one. Best match of the night. Even though the Hulk Andre match was the most significant match in terms of being a huge main event match. This one was the best match of the whole show. Because I thought it was a terrific match. I mean, there was twists and turns of the whole thing. And George the Admiral still helped Ricky Steamboat win. And Ricky Steamboat ended up winning the match. And that match also had a little vignette hype to it. Because the previous November you had Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage on the Super Sports Wrestling show with Rich McMahon and Jesse Ventura announcing it. They figured, oh wow, great, this is going to be a great match on regular television. And of course, during the match, Randy Savage gave the old double X handle move. This is one of his 2 trademark moves on Ricky Steamboat, and he was his throat was on the old metal guardrail that's around the ring at that time. Not the plastic matted thing that's up there now. And he squashed his throat, of course, his larynx, and he took a lot of time to come back. And then, of course, he helped out with George Steele's rivalry with Savage. And, of course, it all came to a head in WrestleMania 3. And even during that match, you heard Jesse Ventura say, this is one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. During the match, he had a lot of reversals of pin attempts. And, of course, during the match, of course, the referee gets knocked out. And here comes Savage with his famous trademark elbow move from the top rope. And, of course, the referee was knocked out. He counted like 20. And the referee was out, he gets the referee up, and then goes for the bell. Figure, oh, I can knock him out with the bell without the referee seeing. But George Steele pushed Savage off the rope, and Steamboat got him up in a small package, and he pinned Savage in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, and he was the new IC champ. Which I thought was terrific. But fortunately, he was only in the champ for about like 3 months. Because he wanted to spend more time with his family, or whatever the reason was, and he lost the Honky Tonk Man. But I thought it was the best match of the night. Of course, speaking of the Honky Tonk Man, he was the next to last match on the card with Jake the Snake Roberts, and they had a little vignette for that match as well. And that's all because Jake the Snake had a little interview segment with the Snake Pit, and he was for some reason he was like ragging on the Honky Tonk Man was nothing but Elvis impersonating and all this other stuff, and he got and Roberts got hit in the head with a guitar, and he went down, and so of course they got the match of WrestleMania 3. Of course, unfortunately, Jake the Snake won. Not Snake won. He lost. Honky Tonk Man won the match. And then, of course, you have the main event with Hulk and Andre. And that was I think it was about like a 20-minute match. And unfortunately, this match is what the other review they mentioned WrestleMania 3 with the Off the Rope show, OTRS Central. When he said about, when he didn't mention in his review, everyone is very friendly in this moment, continue for the next year. And that was within the first couple minutes of the match. And what was great was when Andre came to the ring, Jesse Ventura did the tell the tape on how big Andre is, and then when Hogan came out, he did the tell the tape on Hogan, which was great. It's kind of like a heavyweight when they do with actual boxing matches. They do the same thing and tell the tape, and that's what they did with this match. And within the first couple of minutes, you had the two of them standing face to face with each other. And with of course, with Gorilla Monsoon saying the irresistible force being the immovable object. And you can tell that he's saying something, that Hogan was saying something to Andre. And Andre was just staring at him, looking him down, like, you're talking to me? You know, you're like, almost like Robert De Niro, just standing there, not moving. Or not really reacting to what Hogan was saying. And you got like a little push and shoving going on. And Hogan threw a couple of punches. And Hogan trained to body slam Andre. And of course he couldn't do it. And Hogan and Andre fell on top of him. And it was a 1, 2, 3. And Joey Marella was the referee. And usually in the main events of the WrestleManias, at least from on WrestleMania 2, and then of course from WrestleMania 4, pretty much all the way up to for a few years, you had Dave Hebner as the referee. This time you had Joey Marella as the referee for the main event. And they're talking about, oh, we have Joey Marella. Who knew that Joey Marella would be the referee for this match, just as somebody more of a veteran ref. And he counted 1, 2, 3. You can see he's all going down 1, 2, 3 when Andre fell on him. And by the last, at the same time that Joey Morella's arm did 3, Hogan's shoulder went up at exactly the same time. So it's like a tie. It was pretty much a tie. But Morella says no, it was a 2 count. And you see Bobby Heenan with his Raiders jacket on. No, it was 1, 2, 3, it was 3. And he was all angry for a couple of minutes during the match. Hey, that was a 3 count. The match should be over. But it wasn't over. It went on for like another 10 minutes. So 10, 12 minutes after that. And of course Hogan, getting his ass kicked, pretty much took the whole match for the most part. I mean, he did have a couple of moves that he did on Andre, and Andre at one point put his foot up. Gave him a couple of he missed one headbutt one time. Then of course, surprisingly, Hogan, instead of hulking up like he usually does in his championship match, does this match, his eyes are bugging out and hitting the guy, his opponent, and body slams him in a leg drop. He didn't do any of those funny faces that Hogan is most famous for. He just body slams Andre, unexpectedly body slams Andre, and then does his most famous move with his leg drop, pins Andre, and wins. Which was so surprising to me that Hogan even won. I actually thought he was going to lose. No, with all the WrestleMania matches that Hogan had, that was the one match that I thought I was going to lose. I think most people had. But that doesn't take away for what a great match that was. And one match, I remember when I rented the video out, and was trying to rent this video out for like about a month. But it came out at the end of April. The video, the old VHS that I was trying to get for like every single week. I would go to the video store on the weekends, try and get the video, and that's what happened on my father. The day before my father's 50th birthday, that's when I got the video. I said, oh wow, wait, we can watch this thing. And by the time I said, oh, don't stop the thing when you get the Hulk Andre match because I want to see it, because we had company over and I was watching the WrestleMania, and we all happened to see the Hulk Andre match. And then we watched the whole thing the next day. So before we returned the video, and I seen WrestleMania 3 like one other time, and that's it. But I still consider WrestleMania 3 the greatest one of all time. And I know this is like longer than any WrestleMania video I've done so far, but this was no question the best WrestleMania. And I think that we did have a couple of main events that held up. Over the years, in the most recent WrestleManias, like The Rock versus Austin, or maybe Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart, or Bret Hart versus Austin. Pretty much with the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Excuse me. Or excuse me. Or maybe Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker, when his reign streak finally ended. Some of those matches may be considered classics now, but all the way through, you cannot have an event like WrestleMania 3 again. I did forget to mention one match WrestleMania 3. There was the Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik versus the Killer Bees. And that was the first WrestleMania appearance of Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who came into the ring, hit the Iron Sheik over the head, and the Bees lost on disqualification. But that was, pretty much every single match you were interested in watching, because of the storylines and the angles they had. Every single match, also you were looking forward to seeing. At least the majority of them were. Out of the 12 matches, you have maybe not, in my opinion, at least 9 or 10 of the matches you were interested in seeing, and that's rare in WrestleMania. Because first of all, you don't have 12 matches today in WrestleMania. You have maybe 7 or 8 matches. I think maybe because in recent years they complained that matches in the early WrestleManias were like too short. They were longer matches. So because of people want to have like 20 and 30-minute matches, it cuts down on how many matches the WWF wants to put on. Even though WrestleMania is like over a 4-hour show now, they can have a 12-match card. But whatever. That's why I feel the WrestleMania is not as good as these early years, and that's what I'm doing, and I'm still going to continue doing like at least maybe a couple more of these WrestleManias, at least until I get rid of the single-digit ones. Because they all don't like against like WrestleMania 8, WrestleMania 9, but the atmosphere of wrestling is starting to change at that point, which we'll get to when I get to those WrestleManias. So this is my review of the greatest WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania 3. Please click on my video, please rate it, feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video on your Facebook pages. Also, you can check out my older videos, not only on my YouTube channel, but you can also check out my older videos on RowdyC.com. That's ROWDY.C.com. That's Christy Moore's website. You can also check out his content as well. There's TV trash videos, which are all of them terrific. There's not one bad one in the bunch. But the deal, we decided, because he wants to add more content instead of doing mostly movie reviews, he's going to add my stuff onto his page, which I said, okay, you can do it. But I know he's going to add my wrestling reviews. I know we haven't discussed that yet. I'm just starting to do WrestleMania reviews now. But I hope he does, because he also does wrestling reviews as well. So I hope whatever he decides to do is fine with me. But you can check out his videos, on my older videos on his website on RowdyC.com, as well as his material. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time with another WrestleMania, which will be the 4th one, WrestleMania 4, where the world is watching. Catch you next time.